Welcome to the Bureau. I'm Eivor of Alamut, and today we're going to be looking at the Mirage DLC, Valley of Memory. So sit back, relax, and let's jump into the Animus.
Remember, it is foolish to deny the past, yet also unwise to surrender to it. Better to face it, accept it, and move on.
Assassin's Creed Mirage, which started off as a DLC for Valhalla, where Eivor would have set off to the Middle East, soon became the game we now know it as. Of course, then we had Ubisoft state it would be a game with no DLC, only now for it to receive a DLC, to which I am incredibly happy about. While my favorite game is Origins, if you couldn't tell by the theming of my channel, I absolutely adore Mirage. I was so excited to play Valley of Memory, and now I'm excited to talk about it. This video is going to be a tonal whiplash compared to my last video, where I thoroughly critiqued the Claws of Awaji. But speaking of Claws of Awaji, has anyone else noticed the parallels between these two DLCs? If I can take a moment to compare the DLCs, because I find the similarities rather interesting. I promise we'll get into Valley of Memory proper, just indulge me for a moment. So both DLCs are about our protagonists looking for their lost parent. This parent, who they're not even sure are still alive or not. I have to spoil a twist for Valley of Memory early, because both DLCs deal with a child of a main game villain. Well, I say that loosely in terms of Kimura K, because the Templars were a mere side story in Shadows. Also, both protagonists get imprisoned and then rescued by a friend. What's so funny to me is that Valley of Memory, the shorter and free-to-play DLC, was, in my opinion, executed so much better than Claws of Awaji. Of course, I can recognize my bias in this. As someone who not only loves Mirage, but who is also Basim's #1 fan, of course naturally I'm going to find more enjoyment in the game with the characters I care about. Still, I did try to remain objective in some capacity when comparing. Also funny to point out is that, as far as I know, both of these DLCs are made by Ubisoft's Bordeaux studio, the same studio behind the Wrath of the Druids DLC for Valhalla, and of course the base game of Mirage. I want to focus on the Valley of Memory and break it down because despite its length, there's still a few things I want to get into. But the fact that the outline of these DLCs are so similar, I can't help but compare them. So forgive me if I take a dig at Awaji here and there in this video. This video is really about Basim and his journey to learn the truth about his father in hopes to gain closure and continue to push forward and grow as a man. Let's get into it.
I have not seen my father in many years. Not since the day he was exiled by the Khalifa. The day he left me behind.
The story of Valley of Memory is meant to be played towards the end of the base game. It's meant to be played right before the Head of the Snake mission. So before setting off to figure out who exactly is the Head of the Order of Ancients in Baghdad, Basim gets to set out on a personal journey. It makes so much sense to set the DLC here, but we'll get into that after going through the story. The story begins with Basim visiting Derwish. Derwish, excited to see Basim, quickly shows him a small painting he had purchased from a Bedouin merchant. Derwish suspects most of the items were stolen, but the painting reminded him of Basim's brooch.
Samara.
Do you think your father painted it?
He and I loved this house deeply. Where did the Bedouin find it?
He said he bought the painting in Al-Ula from a notorious peddler of stolen goods.
Al-Ula?
Basim explains how when he was a boy, his father read him stories of Al-Ula, stories about the ancient land and its monuments. Basim continues, saying how his father promised they'd make the journey together when he was old enough. Basim hasn't seen his father in many years, not since he was exiled by the Khalifa, the day his father left him behind. Now, for those of you who need a refresher, Basim's mother had passed away when he was young, but his father, Ishaq, was around till Basim was about 7 years old. Ishaq was an architect and was responsible for the creation of the Great Mosque in Samarra, but his credit was stolen by the Caliph Al-Mutawakkil, which, yes, is the same caliph that Basim did end during the base game of Mirage. It always seemed to be implied by Mirage and even Valhalla that after the credit for the Great Mosque was stolen from Ishaq, he simply passed from some combination of grief and poverty. In truth, Ishaq was exiled and just presumed dead. For now, we'll leave that there. Let's get back to the story.
Sometimes the past chases us.
Derwish, what if my father is still alive? I must go to Al-Ula.
You will likely be crossing a desert to visit a grave. Still, I understand your need to make the journey. I know the place quite well, having previously traveled there on matters of commerce.
You will accompany me then?
Whatever you face, Basim, I will not let you do so alone.
It's decided. Basim is ready to learn the truth of his father, and Derwish, of course, accompanying the young man. The two set off on what is actually a rather far journey. Eventually they reach Al-Ula, deciding to check the cemetery for Ishaq first. Basim reflecting on the day his father left him as he and Derwish check the headstones of the cemetery. The two of them don't find a sign of Ishaq in the cemetery, but this is when Enkidu suddenly flags down and startles a woman who is visiting one of the graves. Basim rushes over and quickly apologizes to the woman, who we learn is named Hind, explaining how Enkidu is not usually like this.
He startled me. But I see now he means no disrespect to my late husband.
I am sorry for your loss. What is your name?
I am Hind.
And I am Basim. Tell me, Hind, how long have you been here?
I do not know. Time has no meaning anymore.
You must be exhausted. Allow me to escort you to your home.
After getting to know Hind more, her and Basim reach her home, and Hind notices a mark and vaguely says that they are here. Basim is able to gather that Hind is referring to robbers. So after Basim retrieves a portrait of Hind's husband for her, he escorts Hind to her friend's home. On the way to said friend's home, we learn that the lawlessness has been unified under a man named Abbas, his name meaning one who frowns. Truly Basim's arch-rival. You know, because Basim's name means one who smiles. It's funny, right? Yeah. Anyway, but Abbas has grown up in Al-Ula and has always been a thorn in their side, but recently has become particularly savage. This gives Basim a name, the presumed head of these robbers. We then learn that Hind's friend is named Nimlot, and Nimlot is a merchant from Baghdad who made his fortune in Egypt, then settled in Al-Ula a few years back. Upon arriving at Nimlot's home, Hind basically becomes the NPC where you return stolen goods to, but that's not necessarily important right now. What is important is Basim meeting Nimlot. Nimlot immediately lets Hind stay with him, Hind giving Basim a farewell before being escorted inside.
You are one of them. I am no threat, though I am aware of your kind. My apologies, but I am in a state of abject terror being in your presence.
I would have guessed mere nervousness.
I love Basim, but in an interesting turn of events, Nimlot knows Basim is a hidden one, so Basim assures Nimlot that he is not here seeking any bloodshed, even if some bloodshed found him. Basim becomes rather curious about how Nimlot knows he is a hidden one, so Basim asks, how does Nimlot know his people? Nimlot explains how in Baghdad, at the caravanserai, there was a soap mill owner, though there were rumors that he was something more, something darker. Nimlot says he was in the city that day, so he did not witness the deed, but he saw the aftermath.
A throat slit, carcass hanging from a balcony.
Al-Ghul.
That was not the name I heard whispered.
More of a description. The man you speak of was Mas'ud al-Yaqub. It was a righteous kill.
I must take your word for it.
Nimlot then changes the subject and asks Basim what his role in today's events were. Basim simply explains that he was present and chose to intervene. Nimlot seems to press Basim on what he means by present, to which Basim quickly explains his reason for being in Al-Ula. Basim then gives Nimlot his name and states he's looking for his father, Ishaq ibn Khalid. Basim then asks Nimlot if he knows him. Nimlot claims the name is familiar, but says no, he doesn't know Ishaq. Basim says it has been many years since he's seen his father, and believes he has recovered a possession that was likely stolen from his father. If Ishaq has fallen prey to the same robbers, Basim must learn all he can about them as quick as possible. Nimlot says the market is the heartbeat of Al-Ula, and says Basim to start his search there.
Begin there. Basim! The men you seek are dangerous. Even for you. Nevertheless, I understand you may have no choice but to tread this path. I lost a loved one recently. And I would stop at nothing to be reunited with them.
Basim takes Nimlot's advice and heads to the market. At the market, Basim talks to one of the merchants there and tries to get some information. The merchant warning Basim about a certain shady section of the market. This is when Basim quickly spots a bandit, with garbs mirroring the robbers he met earlier, so he follows the bandit. Basim then chases the robber down and confronts him, but this confrontation leads to Basim's arrest. Basim is thrown into a cell, the prison master basically mocking Basim before leaving him to fester in his cell. Basim then notices a hole in the wall of his cell, and through this hole, the man in the cell next to Basim talks to him. This is how Basim learns that the prison master is this Abbas that Hind told him about earlier. Basim also learns that Abbas has his own quarters in the prison where he concocts poisons to then try out on the prisoners. The man in the cell next door checks on Basim the following morning, even asking him what crime brought him here. After Basim explains that he has committed no crime, he then proceeds to ask the stranger if he had ever heard of a man named Ishaq ibn Khalid. The stranger seems to know Ishaq as the old fool who claims to be the caliph's architect and knows that Ishaq lives in the Oasis, a house with a blue door in the farmer's quarters. Basim asks if he is certain, to which the stranger replies that since Al-Ula is such a small community, everyone tends to know everyone. Basim then says Nimlot did not know of Ishaq, which makes the stranger scoff. Nimlot is rich, why would he care about the likes of Ishaq? But unfortunately, this is where the stranger's knowledge of Ishaq stops. Basim then takes more time to try and figure out an escape from his cell. At one point, Basim listens in on some guards by his window, one saying he's been taking his meals on the roof. Of course, he's not the only one doing so. This could be useful. After this, Abbas appears to be his little cartoon villain self and tests some new concoction, then leaves.
This confinement, the threat of torture. I feel as if I have lived such a fate before, in some distant memory I cannot fully grasp.
The following night, Basim begins to wonder where Enkidu has gone to. His beloved feathered friend is always following him around. Surely Enkidu couldn't have strayed far. Luckily, he wasn't far away. I have a feeling Enkidu was still looking for Basim, just waiting for some sign from him. Enkidu makes it to Basim's cell window, where Basim begins to lament on how he wishes Enkidu could help him get the key to his cell.
Yes, find the pry bar. He can't understand pry bar. He's a dumb horse. There's no way.
I'd make the argument Enkidu knows what a key looks like. The gameplay mechanic of Basim looking through Enkidu's eyes is often used to find keys. Basim thanks Enkidu for this help, then makes his escape, stealthing through this prison, through this fort, eventually making it to Abbas's room that the stranger in the cell next to him spoke about. Basim sneaks up to Abbas.
We tread this path as one now.
Abbas served his role. He was meant to be a one-note character, a mere stepping stone for Basim and his journey looking for his father. But Abbas still had a trick up his sleeve, poisoning Basim to try and take the young man down with him. Basim continues his escape, now poisoned. He tries to make his way back to Darwish, but soon everything fades to black. Voices. Someone has found Basim. Someone alerts Darwish. Darwish takes Basim back to his tent and works tirelessly to help Basim. These are dire circumstances and need to be taken very serious. Hello. This is nice. This is very nice. Thank you, Bordeaux. Just chef's kiss. Oh, damn. Anyway, Basim pulls through the poison, walking up to Darwish and saying how Nimlat did warn him about the market and how he was a fool to walk into their trap. Darwish says that perhaps there are still lessons for Basim to learn, Basim then thanking his friend for recovering his things, Darwish saying how he may be old but he still has a few tricks left. Darwish then goes on and explains how while Basim was gone, he did some digging around for Basim's father and says the oasis came up. Basim then relays the information the stranger in the cell next to him told him about the oasis and the house with the blue door. With Abbas dead, his men leaderless, now nothing can stop Basim from finding his father. Darwish offers to join Basim, and while Basim knows how Darwish wants to see Ishaq again, he insists he must do this alone. Darwish understands and tells Basim to go and find his father. Basim rides out to the oasis, able to quickly find the house with the blue door. Unfortunately, robbers reach the house before him. Basim rushes in, no sign of bloodshed, but the home is in poor shape. Basim looks around and finds things he remembers from his childhood, sentimental things his father had kept. Basim reflects on these items, which includes a toy his father had made for him, a book of bedtime stories his father would read for him, and a board game Basim and his father played the night before he left.
Father, where are you going?
To a place not meant for little ones.
Why can't I come with you? Why can't I come?
Do not cry, Basim. Remember, you are the one who smiles. But I must go. Darwish, he will take care of you now.
Father, please, do not leave me. Is it because of the toy I broke?
No. Basim, no.
I am sorry. I will be good. I promise. Don't leave me. Please, Father.
This was already tugging at my heart. Hearing little Basim and his father just... Ugh. Also, I love the detail that the windows on the second floor of Ishaq's home were shaped like Basim's brooch. It is such a great detail. My heart is being ripped out. Basim is pulled out of his memories by the voices of guards approaching the house. One guard asking if they really took the old fool, Another guard saying how he doubts the old man noticed, as confused doesn't even begin to cover it. The first asks where they took the old man, and the second guard states that they took him to some camp up north because that is where the robbers' true chief holds court. The guards are simply pretending to care about the kidnapping to appear dutiful to the people investigating the so-called disappearance. This is too real. Anyway, after escaping his father's house, Basim heads straight to the camp the guards had mentioned. Basim sneaks through the camp where he finds a bandit locked up by his fellow bandits. So after getting the key to the cage, the bandit says if Basim releases him, he will help. Basim will only bargain with the bandit if the bandit answers his questions. Concerned that the bandit will alert the camp as soon as he is free, Basim asks the bandit, well, will he do it? To which the bandit doesn't give a solid answer to, instead insisting Basim asks his questions. With no other leads, Basim goes ahead and tells the bandit he seeks an old man from the oasis. Luckily, the bandit was a part of the group that captured the old man, but on whose orders? After all, Basim ended Abyss before the capture took place. This is where Basim learns the truth, that Abyss was never the leader of the thieves. Abyss answered to Nimlot, Hin's wealthy merchant friend Basim met at the beginning of this journey. After this, Basim asks the bandit if he knows where the old man is held, to which the bandit hands over a map to find where Nimlot is, saying that all they steal ends up there and is sold off to friendly merchants. The bandit then explains how to enter. Basim will need a whistle and directs Basim's attention to a whistle sitting on the table. Basim must blow the whistle while standing close to the site to pass as a bandit. After picking up the whistle, Basim lets the man go, and yep, there he goes. Looks like he made it. Okay. Following the map said bandit gave Basim, leads our handsome protagonist to an old Roman fort. Basim follows the bandit's instructions and gains entry. The fort is massive, and Basim must find a way to get into the innermost part of the ancient structure. Basim does so by disguising himself as a visiting astrologer. Walking around the innermost part of Nimlot's operation, Basim stumbles onto an old man being held captive by a bandit, and after freeing the old man, Basim learns that Nimlot has locked himself away in the tower, and Basim will need a key from the captain's pocket to enter the tower. So Basim does just that and finds a way to get the key from the captain, then makes his way to the tower.
Astrologer, you are early, and I am busy with other... Let me correct myself. You, Basim, are on time.
Where is my father?
Where is my father? I could ask the same of you.
What are you blathering on about? You think you can use my father as a hostage to save your own life?
That was never the plan.
Then what?
To watch you suffer as I slowly slit the old pig's throat.
Basim is understandably outraged by Nimlot's words. Why involve Ishaq when Nimlot's fight is with him? Nimlot realizes that Basim truly has no idea who he is, so he demystifies it for him. A father for a father. Nimlot then reveals he is the son of the Order of Ancient member that was known by Al Ghul, the wealthy merchant Basim had personally ended back in Baghdad. The consequences of Basim's actions now confronting him. Basim still holds that the ending of Al Ghul was an act of justice. Nimlot scoffs at this. The Hidden Ones and their moral high ground, how they believe in their spotless justice. But what if Ishaq? Basim only knew him as a memory, yet here he is, ready to end anyone standing in his way. Basim snaps back, claiming that Nimlot's father was a monster. This makes Nimlot laugh, then say how the Hidden Ones never seem to consider the consequences of their own deeds. The Hidden Ones think of justice as an end itself, but Nimlot claims that justice is a consequence. Gods, how I've missed this. Now this is Assassin's Creed. This area of gray as Nimlot chastises Basim, the Hidden Ones, for seemingly having blind faith in their cause, a blind faith in their own form of justice. But Basim isn't here to debate philosophies, so he asks, yelling, "Where is my father?" Nimlot repeats, Basim will end anyone standing in his way. Nimlot stands in Basim's way. As Nimlot moves, Ishaq is revealed, a memory made real. What comes next, I personally think goes so hard, I want to play a longer clip for you so you can fully soak in the moment and hopefully see what I mean.
I know exactly what you're thinking. Can you reach me before I reach him? Of course, if my dagger parts his flesh even as yours parts mine, for me, it will be worth it.
Speak your final words.
Some months ago, after many years away, I returned home to Baghdad to see my father one last time. But as we were merely starting to rekindle our ties, you stole that from me. My chance to show him I had made something of myself.
Your father deserved death. You deserve death.
Who are you to decree a man's death, Basim ibn Ishaq?
Your prize. Choke on it.
Maybe it's my bias, but I honestly think that was perfect. Basim quickly rushes to his father's side. This moment he was never sure that would come. This moment that was built up. This moment of answers and closure.
Are you looking for your father, young man? I do not think he is here. I do not like this place. I must go.
Ishaq meets Basim with no recognition in his eyes. A moment so built up, then ultimately met with a crushing blow. A moment that made even my own heart just drop into my stomach.
You do not smile much, young man. That thing. Where did you get it?
In Samarkand.
Why has Samarkand changed so much? It is very dark. I do not like it.
What do you remember of Samarkand? Of home?
I have lived here all my life. But now, the Khalifa says that I must go to another place. No coming back.
A father and son reunited. Yet instead of Basim desperately trying to get Ishaq to see him as his son, Basim accepts his father as he is and still finds his closure. Talking to his father about what he does remember, talking to Ishaq as the man he's become instead of the child Ishaq left behind.
And what of your son?
Yes. Basim. That is his name. He is my son. My boy must not suffer for my failure. The journey I must take, the dangers, the shame. He will not taste them. They are mine. Alone. My son, he has a future. I have none.
Basim asks Ishaq why not tell his son this, but Ishaq claims his son is too young to understand. Suddenly, Ishaq tries to stand, stating that he must do something. But Basim gently sits him down and asks, what must he do? Ishaq simply wants to see the sunrise one more time before leaving Samara. Ishaq states that there is a tomb out there like the ones in Alula, then goes on to say how he never got the chance to witness the monuments in Alula, only got to read them in stories. Basim says that his father once read those same stories to him, then goes on to ask if Ishaq would like to see the sunset by the tombs, saying it'll be just like Aula, then offers to take Ishaq himself, telling him that they can go together. Ishaq accepts his offer. The morning comes, and Basim walks to Ishaq's side.
Do you remember your wife?
Wife? I have no wife. Not since Basim's mother.
Tell me about her. Who was she?
I once saw a young woman in the bazaar. Brought here from across the sea. From a land far to the north, they said. Such a delicate beauty. Eyes like the bluest sky in winter. And her smile. Basim inherited my looks. But the way he smiles, that belongs to his mother. She left this world too soon. Taken by a sickness before she could see more of it.
Ishaq clearly loved Basim's mother dearly, his words just ripping out my heart. Basim asks Ishaq what his wife's name was, and even though Ishaq cannot recall her name, what I find so fascinating is learning that Basim's mother is most likely Norse. To maybe add some levity to this moment, perhaps you need it like me, but I truly believe that Basim's mother is Norse. The fact that the writers had it so Ishaq couldn't remember her name, to me, adds to this. A Norse name would have been very obvious. Then how can I be so sure if what Ishaq says is, well, rather vague? It's the little clues. She came from a land far to the north. Her eyes are like the bluest sky in winter. Admittedly, this information is still rather vague too. But to me, the careful yet vague wording was the devs saying it without saying it. Plus, you have to remember that Basim is the reincarnation of the Isu Loki. Loki being a part of the Norse sect of Isu, I had always wondered why Loki reincarnated so far away from the rest, so far away from Scandinavia. I had always assumed that the trauma Loki went through was so strong that he reincarnated as Basim in Samara, somewhere kind of around Alamut. Having Basim's mother be Norse, though, honestly answers the Isu reincarnation question, at least in my opinion. I feel at least validation in this after seeing the Assassin's Creed wiki page also agreeing with me. The wiki also stating that Basim's mother was a slave, which isn't stated, but I assume whoever wrote this came to that conclusion based on Ishaq saying that Basim's mother was brought here from across the sea. Brought being the key word. Ishaq lost in her beauty, saved her from a cruel fate, and the two fell in love and had Basim. My heart is aching, ow ow, please save me. The reincarnation question for Basim now being answered through his mother being Norse is such a cool detail to just slyly drop in this DLC. I honestly wasn't expecting it, but we should get back to the actual story now.
After you left Samara, where did you journey?
I have not left Samara. I am here even now. Though that time draws to an end.
Then, where do you wish to go?
Ishaq describes all the places and sights he wants to see, from the Great Mosque of Cordoba to, of course, Alula. He speaks on seeing the Sacred Dome in Jerusalem to the Great Pyramids of Egypt.
Imagine scaling their heights and gazing out over endless sands.
Truly, none have dared such a feat.
Basim then says he has a pull to go to Constantinople, though he cannot understand why. Also a nice little detail because not only do we have the Golden City, but Constantinople is where Basim met Sigurd. I just love that little inclusion. Basim says one day he'll go to Constantinople and that Ishaq will be with him in his heart. Ishaq asks what Basim says, and Basim simply says it was nothing. Now they are nearly at the tomb. The two stare out at the vista, a warm orange sun drenching the sands, a beautiful view of the tombs of Alula.
It is time. I must go. I will not be coming back. Tell my little Basim. Tell him one day, when his time comes, we will be together again. Until then, he has a life to live. Tell him that. If you see him.
I will tell him.
So, you have a smile after all.
Basim gained his closure, and all of this, in truth, left me absolutely wrecked. I thought every interaction between Basim and Ishaq was so well done, and even though the words were seemingly small, everything was so impactful. I was honestly emotional. I cried. I'll say that with my full chest. All of this still keeps intact everything we ever did know about Ishaq in Mirage and Valhalla. At some point after Ishaq left, the father Basim knew did, in a sense, die. While Ishaq was physically alive, his mind was still in Samara, still thinking his son was the small child he was about to leave behind. It's heartbreaking. Basim was able to gain his closure, but his father will never get to know the man Basim became. I found the moments with Basim and Ishaq so impactful. Watching Basim handle the circumstance presented to him, watching Basim gain that closure and learning that he was loved, but humans are still human. They're flawed and do things we don't fully understand sometimes. Basim may not understand everything his father decided, but at least he got to know Ishaq's reasons. Why Ishaq thought he was doing what was best for his son. It's all so bittersweet, and I can only hope I did this story justice in me retelling it.
Well, did you find him?
A mere echo of the man I once knew. Time has wrought its changes. Yet, my heart remains thankful.
I do not understand.
I have faced my past, Derwish. Few get that chance. Now, I must look toward the future. Toward the man I am destined to become.
Fate brings people together in unexpected ways. Sometimes a character receiving a simple fated push in the right direction is all you need to tell a good story. I never once got the impression that Nimlot had some crazy over-the-top plan to lure Basim to Alula by giving the painting to some random merchant in the hopes that Basim would just magically receive it. Derwish is a merchant, well, in a way, so it makes sense for him to purchase goods from other merchants. Derwish just happened upon this painting while doing his job, you could say. A mere happenstance. Which, to me, makes more sense than Yukari concocting a very specific puppet show for a very specific person, aka Nawe, and not only have this puppet show performed in one location in a whole country in the vain hopes Nawe sees it, but also hopes it draws Nawe in enough for her to go to Awaji to free her mother so Yukari can then trap her. How did Yukari figure out that Tetsuyu and Nawe are related? Why did Yukari want Nawe trapped with her mother? Clearly, the hows and whys are not important. I just find Awaji's setup so convoluted and weirdly overcomplicated. Whereas with Valley of Memory, these things were just coincidences, which on paper sounds like lazy writing, but sometimes simple is better. Basim goes to Alula in the vain hopes that this painting is connected to his father. By chance, Al Ghul's son Nimlot is also there. Two sons yearning for their fathers. Two men connected through an act of justice. Nimlot, having Basim thrown in prison, watched under Abyss while he had Ishaq captured. This spur-of-the-moment chance at some sort of vengeance. Of course, Nimlot took the opportunity. What are the chances? Yet those small odds, again, just somehow make more sense to me than a weirdly specific plan. History is built on weird chances and coincidences anyway. Hell, the Assassin's Creed series alone shows that. Valley of Memory was so simple, yet so powerful in its execution. Also, it was solely focused on Basim and his father. With Awaji, it really felt like Naue didn't get to bond with her mother. Tetsuyu was just thrown into a safe house for basically the whole DLC until she was needed at the end. Awaji was a longer DLC. You could have had more moments to have this mother and daughter bond than just tacking it on at the very end. With Valley of Memory, the story simply focused on Basim finding his father. So when we get that moment of Basim and Ishaq at the end, damn, it just hits, for lack of better words. Valley of Memory just hits. Again, I can recognize my bias still. I'm a huge fan of Mirage, and especially of Basim. I love that Basim got to have this closure to his human self. If you noticed at the beginning of the DLC, as Basim and Derwish leave, you can see Nihal, aka the form in which Loki's memories manifest, hangs behind. This is not a quest for Loki, this is a quest for Basim. And while Loki and Basim are one person continued, this almost symbolic gesture of Basim's Isu's side, recognizing that he needs this, that perhaps Basim needs this so he can have no loose ends for when he accepts himself as Loki. Because remember, Basim and Loki are not two minds fighting for one body. Loki existed, then reincarnated as Basim. Those Isu memories manifested as Nihal, and at the end of Mirage, Basim confronts his trauma and is able to accept himself fully. He is able to accept himself as Loki, because he's always been Loki. Basim simply reawakened those memories of his past life. Like I said, it's one life continued. Still, it's nice to see Loki gain some closure on his current life, his life as Basim. Having that closure probably helped him accept himself fully. Also, I think playing this DLC right before finding the head of the Order makes this line a little funnier.
You took your time.
Did you wait up, Master?
I loved Valley of Memory. I think the story was short but succinct and beautifully told. Of course, that's just my opinion. The DLC is free, so if you own Mirage or are interested in Mirage, you'll be able to come to your own conclusion. I'm not here to make up your mind for you. For a free DLC, I feel rather spoiled. Not only was there a story that adds depth to a character I love, but even the side stuff has some pretty cool things to do. You had Tales of Alula, which functioned like the Tales of Baghdad, where you had such moments like Basim trying coffee for the first time. Which, of course, I have to mention because of it being a callback to Assassin's Creed 2.
It is sharp upon the tongue.
Its true flavor unfolds with time.
Perhaps a touch of milk might temper its edge.
Preposterous! None in their right mind would taint the brew in such a manner.
Some other fun side content includes listening to folk tales, which I absolutely loved. It was cool to include local beliefs or stories to kind of learn more about the area. Speaking of learning about the area, the necropolis was really cool, and of course Bordeaux knows how to make a desert just look gorgeous. I loved how you could take moments to relax and have Basim play a song on the ode. So anyway, here's Wonderwall. Since we're talking about the music, I adore the new soundtrack for the DLC. Brendan Angelidis, the same composer for the base game of Mirage, makes a comeback and just kills it. I could actually tell there was new music for the DLC, instead of finding out the DLC had a new soundtrack when I was about 3/4 done with the video, then quickly adding in the DLC music from that point onward. Like I stated before, the DLC is free to check out if you have Mirage, and from my personal opinion, it's worth checking out. It adds such a nice closure to what is a small part of Basim's story. A story that I can only hope isn't over. Still waiting on that modern day story with Basim to continue.
عبر النهار قطعنا وعدا نسافر سوية فلا تخف أبدا سنطفو معا عبر البحار بخير ومعا عبر الأدهار لكن الطبيعة تهمس بسرائري
Basim, the one who smiles. He is a good boy. He will grow into a fine man one day.
Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed your stay at the Bureau, and I hope I'll see you around for the next one.
It is time. I must go.